and welcome to Middle Age Geeks. My name is Phil, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Daz. Daz, how's tricks?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I've had a nice day going to the cinema and popping over to your gaff to have a lovely Mexican lunch earlier on. It was really nice and see your new kitchen. Fucking badass. So, yeah, good. Good weekend so far. How about yourself? Was it lovely having us over? Was it lovely?
Yeah, you're all very welcome, obviously. Fucking tacos over here, fucking stuffed. So for those of you at home who haven't listened before, we are primarily a movie review podcast, but we'll also start off our podcast with a couple of sections around what's going on in the news we found interesting regarding geeky movie, video game stuff, and then we'll move on to what we've kind of watched and played, and then Daz is going to take us through this week's movie, which is The Monkey, which has just come out from Osgood Perkins. So, as I said, as we kick things off with news, is there anything that's jumped out at you this week?
Well, one of the more interesting news bits this week that I just saw on a little piece online was a man in India, in Bengaluru, who sued the PVR cinema chain there about movie start times. It was fucking brilliant. Said that the movie didn't start for like 25 to 30 minutes, and when it finished, he was supposed to go back to work at a certain time and didn't, and he just said, essentially said they've wasted 25 minutes of my time, but then said there was like emotional trauma and all this other shit. And you kind of, you see these things in the States all the time. But with this one, you're going, I do see what you're on about. But he won the case. I think he won like how many rupees, but it was like 700 or 800 quid or something.
It's the principal, though, right?
Yeah, the principal, and the chain was fined like about $1,000 or something like that. But I think they were saying that the court was saying they're going to try and put something in place for that chain and stuff in India to start, to advertise when the movie starts, what time, not what time the presentation starts. Which is, and that's something, because like recently, especially going to the Odeon, like sometimes it'd be 10 minutes late and it's perfectly, you've missed 10 minutes of ads and then you're into the trailers. But other times I've been like 5 minutes late. I've missed 5 minutes of the fucking movie. And you're like, what the fuck is going on here? So maybe I should have sued them. What do you think about that?
Not to mention, you mentioned today, trying to find parking in Dublin City today, you ended up paying for parking, and you could be 25 minutes an extra half hour, and granted, it's only an extra few quid, but all that shit adds up, and especially you're juggling, you've got a certain amount of time to get out and get back to your kids, your wife and kids, and all the rest of it. I hate ads. Like, trailers, for sure. We talk about trailers on here all the time, and I fucking hate ads. I put up with them on television. That's what my fucking TV license is for. I'm paying, if you're paying a fortune for to go to the movies, and it is expensive if you don't have a membership. It's like €15 or something. I just shouldn't have to fucking watch ads as well. I don't want to see ads for fucking Australian shampoo or some nonsense. Not into it, man.
But that was one of the more interesting news stories. And then the other one that was getting a lot of attention during the week is Phil Spencer, head of Xbox, came out and announced he just said in an interview with a magazine that they are not interested in trying to make players move over to Xbox consoles anymore. He said that's not their remit. This essentially ends the console wars, which kind of ended a few years back anyway, with Xbox fucking shit in the bed, but they're now losing. I think we've said before, 5-1 to Sony in terms of sales. It's not so much a sinking ship because they get a shit ton of revenue via kind of cloud gaming and PC anyway. But they seem to have finally accepted their fate on consoles, it seems, and Sony seems to have won the war without doing anything, because Xbox have just shat the bed for the last decade, from being one of the hot property with the Xbox 360, and then I think we've talked fucking ad nauseum on here about a host of issues from lack of first-party titles over like, of course, 5 or 6 years.
Yeah.
And then releasing first-party titles ranging from average to fucking awful. Like, buying Activision Blizzard for 70 billion quid, which seems to completely shift their focus in financial management, which results in like high-profile closures we've seen of really, really awesome studios they acquired that won awards with games on their platform, and then they fucking shut them. Mm-hmm. And now they're kind of going, look, we're just gonna put our games out on Sony and Nintendo because And his whole thing was just like, it's about making sure everyone can play the games, you know, it's regardless of the platform. We don't want to shut people out, all this stuff.
You don't give a shit about
you give a fucking shit about that motherfucker. It's just like, he talks a good talk and he's a likable guy, but this is also the same guy that like tried to buy Nintendo about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. Yeah, it's not about locking people out, but you want to buy an entire fucking gaming platform. But yeah, it's interesting, and it just means that everyone's going to get to play Xbox games, which there's not really that much of out there anyway. Yeah. It's a bit of a strange one. Like do you play your Xbox a lot?
No, I said that earlier on actually to Steve when he was over. I was said like he was asking if I had GoldenEye. You know, he doesn't play many games, and he was like, "God, I used to love that game." And I was like, "I think maybe it was they had a version of it. Maybe it might be on the Xbox or something." And I looked over the Xbox, and there's a fucking layer of dust on top of the thing. Like I haven't gone near it. It's PlayStation, and still my Switch, which is what 8 years old. Is it 8 years this year? 8 years,
yeah. This is just next month.
Yeah, like 8 years I've had the fucking Switch. So, and I'm still playing that. So that shows you how much little interest I have in. Like I will jump on the Game Pass every now and again, but no, not at the moment. So if I can pick up Gears of War on the PlayStation or something like that from now on, then yeah, great, no problem.
Yeah. And actually, just going to jump in on a little bit of feedback there that ties in with what you're saying about the Switch and Nintendo. Alan from Dublin just got in touch. He was just asking about the GTA launching later this year and also the Switch launching later this year. And with like a lot of studios and publishers are keenly awaiting the release window of GTA 6 so they can get their games out of the fucking way of that.
Yeah.
Just to try and actually make some fucking money and sell something. But he was saying, like, do you think Nintendo would be worried about that? Is that why they're not releasing a window for the Switch too? And like Nintendo don't give a fuck. Like,
I think it's more of that. Yeah, I don't think they care. Like I would 100% get Alan's point if it was something that was between Xbox, PlayStation, or different game studios releasing games. But when it comes to Nintendo, no, they couldn't give a shit. They're literally just doing their own thing. Like if you want to release your third-party game on our console, you can, but we don't really care. You know, they just do their own thing. And what Nintendo is mostly about their first-party stuff. Yeah, that's fantastic, and they're in their own little bracket. I don't think it would affect them too much. I think they have a kind of target market. Like if you're going to buy both, you're not going to buy one or the other. Like there's no way I would choose between one or the other. You know, it's obviously both. Like
well, that's exactly it. I think like the people who are going to buy a Switch are probably going to likely buy GTA 6 also because it's not on the platform, and it's like I think everyone's going to buy everything. Or both of those. Like the Switch is going to sell fucking bazillion copies regardless of whatever is out. But yeah, that's it kind of on the news front. Pretty quiet enough.
Yeah, I've zip zero. Fuck all. I did like the first pictures of Matt Damon in his gear from the Odyssey. Yeah, that cast is ridiculous, man.
It's astonishing.
It's so many from his previous movies, as he always does. But no, that cast looks fantastic.
And it looks like Matt Damon, like he's the leading man. He's
it looks like it.
Which is
badass. He looks badass in that outfit,
picture.
Man.
Yeah.
But no, there's nothing on my end, man. Yeah, it's similar stuff to yourself, but nothing else. Okay, cool. Well, look, we'll move on then to what we've been playing and watching. Daz, has anything been new for you this week? Because I'm finding myself that not a whole lot has been coming out. Yeah, I know we're only in February, but I'm not really playing anything new. There's nothing jumping out. This is the year where I said, no, I'm going to play a bunch of new shit.
Yeah.
There's nothing really jumping out. Yeah, there's nothing really jumping out. Like it is a positive outlook ahead this year. I mean, we've got some good stuff coming out, but so far I haven't seen much new stuff that's grabbed me. What about yourself?
Well, interestingly enough, as I was saying, the last few weeks, I've been sucked into Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. And I love it. But I got to a point there during the week where, you know, I'm only getting like 2 to 3 hours in the evening just to play at the moment. And I was playing and I realized after about 2 hours that all I'd done is like I'd solved some mystery at a wedding and then got captured, and I was trying to stealth mission up to the top of a castle to get a key to get out of the fucking prison or whatever. And the mechanics are so it's simulation based, so it's really fucking difficult if you fuck up. And I was trying to rush it and realize after 2 hours it's just like I've I've done nothing. I've just done nothing. I just got caught in this stealth mission like 4 times. So I just went, I might just fucking put it down for a second. And earlier that day, I was showing you my shiny new neon yellow Xbox controller after the A button of mine got fucking stuck a few weeks ago. So I said, you know what? Maybe I'll just, I'll download Avowed and maybe I'll have a look at that. Ooh.
Okay, yeah, looking forward to hearing this.
Fucking downloaded in about 15 minutes. Brilliant. And for anyone who doesn't know, it's the new kind of action fantasy role-playing game from Obsidian, those of Outer Worlds and New Vegas. So I'm a big fan of them and their writing team is superb. And this game is fucking brilliant.
Yeah,
it's like a modern day Skyrim, albeit like a slightly smaller world. But it's so rich. The world is rich in lore, and the story is pretty fantastic. Like people were saying it's kind of the third game in this world, but it's a new entry point. But like these games on PC called Pillars of Eternity, which I'd never really heard of. But the world centers around like the living lands and these pillars, which store souls, and when you die, your soul goes back into them. It's about reincarnation, like spiritualization, and all this kind of mad shit going on in the world, and it's fucking brilliant. But the best thing about it, like you're a character in this, you're essentially an envoy of an oppressive force that has brought law and order to these lawless people in the living lands. And there's a plague that you're trying to call the Dream Scourge or whatever, that's turning people and animals fucking crazy. And you're trying to, as the envoy to the emperor, you're trying to go down, just see what the fuck is going on. So you're kind of the bad guy, you're on the bad side, which is really interesting. And then throughout your journey, you can decide to be a dick or decide to be good. I always find it hard to be a dick in these games. But the narrative choices that you make really affect your story, and I've seen it affecting the story already. I'm about 18 hours in. Like I played about 9 hours on Friday. Just fucking got to bed about 4 o'clock in the morning. Just couldn't stop playing it. But normally with like role-playing games like Skyrim, like the combat is always serviceable. It's more about the story and the lore and the characters and the journey and stuff. But the combat in this is fucking excellent. It's excellent. Easily the best first-person combat I've seen in a game. Like it tackles every form. There's guns and swords and shields and mages, wands and bows and axes and everything. But in the middle of combat, you can switch between whatever you want. So I can have a sword and a shield, kicking some ass, and then just with a tap of Y, flips over and suddenly your wand and your spell book come out. And it's like bang, bang. You're throwing grenades and you're commanding 2 companions and stuff. And it's fantastic. And numerous times while playing, I've said out loud to myself, like sitting on the couch just going, this is brilliant. And it's been quite a while. Glad to hear that now. Yeah, it's been a while since I've actually been thinking about or counting the hours to play a game again, you know? And it's free on Game Pass, so happy days. Yeah, that's what I've been playing. Watching wise, I went to see 2 movies this weekend. One we'll talk about in a little while, and the other one is with my daughter. I went to see Dogman. And I know you're keen to hear about this one, man.
No, I actually am, man, just because I was intrigued by seeing all the high scores. Like, I don't know anything about Dogman at all. Like, I just saw the character pop up, and then it was being advertised. I didn't know if it was a kid's cartoon, what the hell it was. But I saw the scores, man. It's getting great reviews everywhere.
Yeah, so it's like fucking 88% in Rotten Tomatoes, and because we just saw a trailer, and I was looking to see what, taking daughter to the cinema to see what's on, and said, I'll have a look at this. Played 30 seconds of the trailer to her, and she went, yeah, love it, let's go. And then when the rating comes up at the start, it came up like PG, and I was like, fuck, like, you're expecting the U for Universal. PG is like, all right, she is 4. I hope this is, not one where after 10 minutes she's going to ask to leave or something. But yeah, it starts pretty full on, where there's a cop and he's got a dog. Brilliant animation, by the way, by DreamWorks, and it looks fantastic. But the cop and his dog get killed, and then the dog can't use his body, and the guy's head is fucked. So the doctors go, hey, let's just try and stitch them together, which they do, and then he becomes Dogman. And initially
I didn't know where that was going to go. I didn't know that was when look at the poster. I just thought it was just I just saw a little dog in the cop uniform. I was like, that looks adorable. Wow, that's
it's
They're
kind
going
of a
down the
dark
per
opening.
things route.
Yeah.
They're going down the per things route with it, like fucking brain transplants.
Yeah. And then he murders a load of kids. No, and then he goes off and he's trying to fight this fucking evil cat and all this stuff. And it's lovely. There's nice themes of acceptance, loss, and parenting, and how to do the right thing. And the animation's cool. And I thought so much of it. It was just like, it's so fast paced, and thought, like, for 4-year-olds, like, my daughter's pretty bright, but it was just like, is this going to go way over her head? Because I remember her watching Cars before, Disney's Cars, when she was 2. One of the first things she watched when she had screen time, and she'd like, play Cars, and she watched about 8 minutes of it, and she's just going, what's happening? What's happening? I'm like, I don't know how to explain this to you. Cars again, what's happening? But when she came home, then she told Ali. She's just like, I went to see this movie, and she just recounted the whole fucking thing. I was like, oh, no way.
Oh, deadly. All right.
Happy days. But good fun. Good laugh. Nice and brisk.
You didn't bring her to see The Monkey, did you? You didn't like, this wasn't like a screen 2 for 2 days screening now, like.
Yeah, no, maybe not, But, I did beat my own weight in sugar in the cinema with her. And she, weird one, she knows when to stop. She passed me the jellies. I feel a bit sick, and I'm sitting there after eating 2 full pack of Haribos, fucking like getting sick in my mouth. Just go, I wish I had your resolve.
Just the only time of the week. It's the only time of the week where you pig out, so it's fair.
Yeah, exactly. Just go fucking nuts, 8,000 calories in 15 seconds. Bring it on. But yeah, that's pretty much it. How about yourself? Did you watch anything?
Nothing really new. I did start watching the White Lotus. I said, look, one of these weekly shows I'm going to watch. I watched the first episode of it, and it's cool. It's great. Again, another insane cast. Michelle Monaghan, as you said, Kerry Coon is in this one. Walton Goggins. The cast is just ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous, as always. And then I still haven't started Severance or Yellow Jackets. I probably will wait till both of those finish to watch them. And then I saw A Companion again.
You were saying,
I had to. Yeah, I had to see it again. It's just fucking class, man. I loved it again. That scene, the German scene. No spoilers. Like the German scene, man, is just cracking me up, man. And what else? Oh yeah, and I finally got around to watching. This is a couple of years old now. And Kunk on Earth. Your ones. Kunk, the Philomena Kunk, the character that you're running up. Yeah, so I watched some of that on Netflix because I knew it was there for a while, and I've seen some of the other stuff that she's done. Just fucking laugh out loud stuff. She's absolutely amazing. I'd love her. I can't remember the actress's name, but anyway, it's your one from did you watch Afterlife, Ricky Gervais thing?
Only the first season. Okay,
well, it's your one from The Office who believes in horoscopes and all that kind of stuff, and she just plays a completely straight faced, and just as if it's like a fake, like a mockumentary kind of style thing, But it's just you have to watch it, man. It's proper laugh out loud. But nothing else new on me. It's been a fairly quiet week with regards to that stuff. Cool. Well, look, that's our first 2 sections out of the way. So I'm excited to first talk about this week's movie. So Daz, whenever you're ready, take it away.
So The Monkey, written and directed by Osgood Perkins, his eagerly awaited follow-up to Longlegs, which we were big fans of here. This is based on a 1980s short film by Stephen King, produced by James Wan, who is no stranger to horror franchises and success himself. The Monkey, it stars Theo James, Tatiana Maslany, and Christian Convery. Theo and Christian were both playing younger and older twins. So it's always nice to see when you get a movie where people get to play 2 characters in it, when it's not an Eddie Murphy movie. It's always great. The synopsis for the movie is very, very short. It's when twin brothers Bill and Hal find their father's old monkey toy in an attic, a series of gruesome deaths start. The siblings decide to throw the monkey away and move on with their lives, growing apart over the years. And if that is a complete misrepresentation of what the fuck is going on with this movie, I don't know what is. What we normally do is we'll get stuck into just chatting about the movie, non-spoiler. We'll talk about stuff maybe you've seen the trailer, but not about anything specific spoiler-wise. And then we'll get into a more detailed spoiler version afterwards. But before we get stuck into the nitty gritty, what are your thoughts on this one? Because we haven't talked about this at all.
No, honestly, I'm not, a little underwhelmed. Not saying the movie itself was underwhelmed. I think I had built it up in my head because of how good Longlegs was and how the reviews of this were like. Everybody was saying it was fantastic. You know, when I tell people I was going to see it this week, they're like, "Oh my god, it's supposed to be fantastic! It's brilliant!" And I was expecting something scary, and this is a comedy more than anything.
Yeah.
And it's, but I will say it's not just written and directed; it's starring Osgood Perkins as well. He plays the uncle at the start, man, Uncle Chip or whatever his name is.
That him?
Yeah.
He's brilliant. That's it. We get that scene. It's really good.
Yeah, badass glasses. It's I don't get me wrong. I enjoyed a lot of it. I laughed out loud, and I was the only person laughing out loud in my cinema, though, which was, you know, especially when I'm the dude sitting up the front, so everybody behind me can just see me fucking laughing out loud at some of the ridiculous death scenes that we would have seen in bits and pieces in the trailer. And there is some great ones, but I don't know. I think I was expecting something. I was expecting something scarier, and also I just felt I wasn't really mad on the plot. Like the connection between the brother and stuff was interesting at the start. You know, one of them's a dickhead, and one's a nice guy, but there's not really enough explanation as to when he's last talked to him, and you know, as you said, they're kind of estranged and stuff, and the stuff. Bringing his son into it, and there was a lot of in it, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I'm not invested in any of this. I didn't.
That's the main thing. Lack of being, I don't know how to word that. Lack of being invested, or just a lack of caring, I guess, about the characters. I think it was strange. Like it's reminiscent of It, the way the structure, where it's, you know, it features a large part of the runtime as them as kids. And then it's later on them, you know, it comes back, the monkey comes back and them dealing with it. And I think I preferred the first half of the movie, if you want to call it that, with the kids. And that's mainly because Tatiana stole the show from me.
Yeah,
I wish she was in it longer. The second half is it's almost like it's kind of tonally a little bit uneven or all over the place. It's not sure what it wants to be. Sometimes it's trying to tackle serious themes, and then is it slapstick, or is it somewhere in the middle? But I think like I enjoyed it while I was in there, but I think if you enjoy this movie, a lot of it comes down to how much of a buzz you get out of these kind of scenario based movies like Final Destination and stuff like that, because this is a lot more depth. Well, maybe a lot more. It's got more depth than a Final Destination movie, because I think he's a good filmmaker, and he's trying to say something with the movie. There's a lot of emphasis on death and everyone dies and stuff around that, but then they kind of touch on parenting and stuff like that, and it's all kind of bits of things. You know, like there's bits with him and his kid later on. It's like, you know, he's not estranged from his kid, but doesn't see his kid, and I don't know if that makes sense because it's been 25 years, time jump. And nothing's happened in the 25 years. The monkey hasn't been around, so why are they so?
Actually, can I ask you? Can I ask you on that, Daz? Right. So with regards to the time jump, the time in general in it, like it's split, as you said, between the two parts: your younger kids part, and then our, you know, today, present day. But like the flashbacks, all the stuff in the 90s looks like it's the 70s. Like 70s. People are dressed like it's the 70s. Your man, like Chip, the Uncle Chip, looks like a character straight from the 70s. He's got his glasses are those, you know, polarized kind of 70s, big Elvis kind of style glasses.
Warmer color grade, kind of aesthetic, kind of a retro color grade.
Yeah. And then when we get into present day, I know a lot of that stuff still looks super old. Yeah. Like they have granted they've got fucking smartphones and all that stuff, but I'm saying that a lot of this still looks like they haven't changed much of it. And that just, I don't know. It does not look
like the 90s. Like some of it's most of it's set in the 90s, and it, like I've lived through the 90s.
No, I don't know. So I don't know if he's doing that on purpose or what. It's a little bit, that kind of threw me a little bit. I was like, what? When is it set? Like,
I wish they hadn't. I wish if they just said 25 years later, like with The Substance, where they don't mention time. It's just like,
but they actually do. They actually say it was 19. He says it in his narration, doesn't it? Back, it was the early 90s. I did like the. We'll get into it in the spoiler section, but I liked the cameo near the start. Was great.
Oh yeah,
absolutely love that. That was proper laugh out loud. He looks younger. He looks so young. He looks so different than he does.
Yeah.
But that whole scene with him in it, man, that was one of my fucking laugh out loud moments.
Yeah, the opening scene is probably the best thing in the movie for me. And that and Tatiana. But yeah, it's interesting when you say like that. It wasn't as engaging as I thought. But first and foremost, I was just delighted that when I was going in, I was texting you. I was like, "Oh, I'm scared this movie's going to start." Because when I was going up the escalator in the cinema, and the poster's scarier than this movie. Like the poster, you're just looking at it going, "Oh, fucking here you go," because you just have these things in your mind of these fucking monkeys with the banging the cymbals, which I think that was the original.
It was, yeah.
Thing in the short story. But when you pad out a short story, like it gives you license to an agency to really make it your own and add in extra bits and this and that, which is obviously done here. But I think the script, it's not so much paper thin, but it's not the strongest. It's not the movie's strongest element or strongest aspect. It's certain things just didn't seem to work. They seemed kind of out of place, especially like in the latter half, which we'll kind of get to. But I liked a lot of it, like the cinematography. Again, I'm drawn to the fact that I liked it, but I liked that it looked like a retro aesthetic, which really gravitate towards.
I'm not complaining about how it looked at all. It's just weird that it's set in the 90s and doesn't look like that. That was just the thing that bothered me. But it looks fantastic. I love the aesthetic of it. I think. And I have gone from not liking Theo James specifically just from a character he had played in. He was the In-Betweeners movie when he was an absolute dickhead. I'd gone from like just not like you get just gravitate. That's the first time you see someone sticks in your memory as that guy's a dick. But then of course he's completely grown on me. He's great in The Gentleman, and I enjoyed him as the main brother that we see. I quite enjoyed him. Thought he was good. Some of the side characters were great. Like the girl again you see in the trailer, the one who's showing around the house, the estate agent. You know, she's that super overly friendly estate agent, like the fucking like she'd give you diabetes. She's so fucking overly sweet. Like, I thought she was hilarious for the short time she's in it. Like some of the side characters were good fun. But again, as you said, with the stories, if we can just maybe just look at that part, like there's nothing to get invested in because there's not enough time spent with these characters. If you're telling me that he only speaks to his son once a year because he's afraid, he just thinks he's bad, whatever, bad news or bad effect, whatever. I mean, there's no relationship there, at all, really. Yet he gets him like for 1 week a year at his birthday or something along those lines. Like, but that's weird. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then there's really interesting characters that could be more into it. Like you look at the stepdad, Elijah Wood, who I would have loved to see more of him. Like that was just so much you could have done with him. Yeah, absolutely. So much you could have done with him with the fucking, he's at home in his own house. He has his own like books all behind him of his category of all the books
up like he's written.
Propped up exactly. Yeah, like he's an egomaniac fucking thing.
He looks like he's dressed in cycling shorts as well, drinking out of an oversized water bottle.
Yeah, he's wearing like skin tight fucking lycra. He's obviously one of these dudes who's all about body, health, and mind, and there's so much you could have done with him as well. But we leave that saying very, very quickly, and we're off with him on his, as you said in the intro, we're off with him and his son on a road trip, and
the thing is, you've been introduced to that relationship and that plot point halfway through the movie. Yeah, and it's like the setup with the twin brothers and their relationship being, the kind of meek one, and then the fucking dickhead one, and that sets everything in motion. And then when it gets to present day, or let's say 25 years later, you're introducing his son into this mix, and then it's only a while later where the other brother comes back in, and it's kind of, it's not so much that it sags then, because I don't think the movie sags. It's very pacey and it's edited very well. But at that point, you're kind of like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
And for me, it just doesn't make sense, because his whole thing is, I get what they're trying to say is just, because this monkey and because of the shit that happened in his past, he's keeping people at a distance and doesn't want to see his son be in the fear of the monkey, killing someone else close to him. But as far as the movie tells you, you have to initiate and twist the monkey for it to kill somebody, and 25 years has passed and nothing's happened with the monkey. So do you think it might be okay that like you can see your son? I just thought that's one of those things. I'm not sure if that's in the short story. I don't think it is, but that's been kind of jettisoned in there. And it just feels a little out of place and feels odd and kind of tonally. It's just, I don't know. It's like it belongs in a different movie or something. It lends itself to some interesting and cool, funny moments, but that bit just stuck out like a sore thumb to me. That it's just like, we don't need that. Just focus on the brotherly turmoil and fucking conflict.
Yeah.
But let's talk about the gore, actually.
The gore, and the gore is great. That the scenes when they happen are just, again, laugh out loud kind of stuff. Like, you watch your Final Destination and stuff like that. The thing with Final Destination is that a lot of the time there's a big build up. You're waiting for it. You're wondering what's going to happen. Oh, there's a bowling ball rolling along. Is that going to fall here? Or, oh, there's a hook on the roof. Is that what's going to do it? And you're kind of wondering what it is. Whereas in this, it's just, for the most part, it just comes back.
Instantaneous,
And I love that. Like, it's some really, really, really funny ones. Some great practical effects as well. Obviously, there's some, CGI use as well, but there's some great practical effects. And that whole one at the start, in the shop with the monkey and all the rest of it, that is just fantastic. I laugh again, just laughing out loud. It's really, really good use and a good mix of practical and CGI. That they're really, really good. I love the death scenes in it. What did you think? Because I enjoyed I really enjoyed the sound. I enjoyed the score and the soundtrack. And
soundtrack is great. Yeah. The score was kind of minimal but used very well. But the simple, like I kind of say, sound effects and sound design. It seems it's done so well. It's like they just put a microphone next to this fucking monkey, and like from the sound design and the cinematography of just the monkey itself. I mean, the sound is eerie, and the fact that they use that I do like to be beside the seaside music to go along with it, which is this kind of joyful stuff, but just the beautiful choice that just turns it into this, when you hear it, this joyful kind of happy tune, is just this ominous, eerie, like shit is going to fucking go down. Like, and it's just, but like the monkey himself, I just love how they tackle that, where it's shot or how it's shot. That, it's an inanimate object that never moves apart from the mechanical thing it's supposed to do, and it's just shots of its face or its eyes or just a silhouette of it or whatever it is, and it's just, they do nothing. They're just putting it there, and it's the scariest fucking thing you've ever seen in your life. It's like, oh my god! It's just, and it's not one of those things, where you, like in other movies where it's a doll or something, you're waiting for the head to turn to look at you. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't have to do anything. It's just a fucking scary looking, awful prop that you'd never have in your house.
I would 100% have that right here in the shelf behind me. next week you're going to tune in and I'll have it behind. I loved it. I loved that. Yeah, I thought it was done really well. And like you said, the ominous music, because obviously that's the music it plays when you wind up, but also it's also this thing that it's coming. Like, you hear it, you can hear it in the background. If someone's saying, "Oh shit, it's about to kick off," it's like the dun 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 Jaws. You're like, you hear it. Oh shit, someone's about to get killed. Like that's it. You hear the kind of playing thinly in the background, and then it builds up and builds up.
Yeah,
and it's just it's great use of it. I thought the score as well, because you've got that really upbeat fucking upbeat soundtrack as well as the score. And it's just, it's really fun sound design. I think that's something I think we mentioned in Long Legs was great as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mike and Monroe's heavy breathing, which I'm still dead set on.
Yeah, I remember.
Could have done without it.
But yeah, like on the performances, I mean, I think the kids, well, with the one kid actor, but the kids, it's just really good performances. Like, it's.
Do you mean his son or the flashback?
The flashback of the kids. Yeah,
okay.
With the twins when they're younger.
Yeah. Especially
it must be hard to cast that, because you're looking for someone who can play dual roles, who can very believably play like the dickhead 3 minutes older twin, and then the meek, fucking shy, sheepish other one. It works absolutely perfectly. And the same with Theo. That later on, like, even though his the older twin, gets a bit kind of ridiculous towards the end. Like his kind of character is kind of fucking out of control and all that. But it's a magnificent showcase of his acting talents. And I didn't really know, who was he in the In-Betweeners?
He was the dickhead, like when they go on the boat. He's the guy who sells off or Jay's clothes. He goes, I bet I can sell these for someone.
It's fucking him.
Yeah,
no way.
And he used to steal, go on Carly away or whatever. He's one of the reps or something.
Because I hadn't seen him in anything. I didn't know who the fuck he was.
Have you not seen the Gentleman series?
No, never watched that.
That's really, definitely watch that. It's great. Again, great cast. It's really funny. It's 100% recommend that. Yeah, I wasn't expecting much, but it is quality though.
Oh, that's good. But apart from the cameos, Elijah Wood and a cameo at the start they're fantastic. But Tatiana she is just superb. There's we'll get into it in the spoilers. There's a monologue that she gives to the kids after a funeral, talking
sitting outside,
death, and she's this mother who obviously her husband has left her, and she's holding that. She's a bit kind of bitter and very direct. And to the point with her sons, and she goes into a monologue talking about death and how people die and horrible and this and that. It's just like not exactly what these kids need to hear, but she is fucking brilliant in this. And after like seeing things for She-Hulk and these kind of things, it's nice to see her get back to a decent.
But the thing is, there is she was the positive thing about that show. The She-Hulk is just. I said it to anybody. Like I watched She-Hulk the whole way through, and it's not a great show, but. Like she brings so much to it. There's so much energy and enthusiasm from her, and so much charisma that she is enjoyable. Now, what they've had her doing in it, and what they did with the She-Hulk character, not great, but she's brilliant. And I absolutely loved her in this. Like that scene, just so straightforward with her kids. There's no padding about what life is about. It's such a funny scene.
What would you give it then? Star rating?
I enjoyed it. When I said underwhelmed at the start, maybe it was more disappointed that it's not what I thought it was going to be, which was really creepy, horror and stuff, and it ended up just being more comedy. But I still think, 3.5, I think would be fair for it. Like it's not amazing, but it's not long either. It's 100% one that you will. I will watch it again. Definitely watch it again. And it's when it gets on somewhere like Netflix, I can see it doing incredibly well. It's reviewing well right now, but it's one of those ones that once it gets on streaming, it'll be watched by shitloads of people because it is just good fun.
Yeah, I think the same myself. 3.5. I just on one hand, I was delighted that it was a horror comedy and there was no jump scares, I think, at all, which was fantastic. But like in the horror genre, it's when you see something reviewed so well, it's great because it's like even when you try and see the audience score as well to try and see, because the horror genre is so fractured sometimes, where some people will think this is not for them, and generally you would see a split with a movie like this where people are going, oh, it's not fucking scary at all, and just like, well, it's not supposed to be scary, or it's not supposed to have jump scares. But I thought it was great. Like acting was great, cinematography was fantastic. Really well directed. I just think some of the kind of choices in the latter half didn't make me as invested as I was for the first half of the movie.
I think it's definitely that was the more interesting part. And I haven't read that short story, but I wonder where exactly where the padding, where the padding came in from it. But it's the first part of the movie is the best. Has the nicest feel to it with that 70s aesthetic, despite being set in the 90s. But I definitely agree. It's definitely kind of front loaded, but it's definitely worth a watch. I would recommend it, definitely.
Super. Yeah, so go check it out. The Monkey. Okay, so now let's get into the spoiler section, which will mostly be us talking about all the fucking deaths in the movie, which are fucking brilliant. But we have to talk about the opening scene with Adam Scott. Which,
this is the cameo. Yeah,
which cameo was just fantastic, and and this looked like straight away I was just like, oh, this is like belongs in the 70s, and this straight away I just loved the way it was shot, the color tones, and the grading and everything is fantastic. And he arrives in an antique shop obviously, like, in a bit of peril in his pilot outfit, covered in blood. It's just it sets the tone for the fucking movie perfectly. Like, I wish they kind of kept this tone.
But the pawn shop owner is fantastic because he's just so nonplussed. Like, he walks in, he's like,
you got a bit,
you got blood on you, like, just completely. Just, not this guy is running looking manic with blood on him and stuff, and he's like, you got blood all over you, like it's up his fucking neck and everything. He's just super chill. It's great.
But it sets up that perfect tone where it's that kind of off kilter, slightly bizarre, quirky kind of scene, which is fantastic. And he's just like, you need to take this monkey back. And the monkey starts doing his fucking little drum thing, which is just very eerie. And it's interesting that they had to change it to the drumsticks because of copyright with the with the thing, which I actually think works even better, because that would just be very annoying, cacophonous fucking sound to work around. But anyway,
where there's something symbolic about waiting for the hand to drop. It's almost like
and when it spins around,
it's almost like the thumb down.
No,
I love that. And I love that. I love that he's just like, no, you can't return. We don't take returns on toys. It's not a toy. This thing is a killing machine. It's fucking machine. And he's just looking at this adorable thing. Well, I know you find it creepy, but I thought it was cute with the fucking eyes and smile and all the rest of it. It just sets the tone because it's such a fantastic opener. You're just fucking straight into it. How this goes, like how this, we get a fantastic death scene, and that go, okay, brilliant. They're going to have to keep this up for the rest of it. You can't have a normal death scene. The next person, they just get struck in the head and they die. It's going to be over the top when each person dies, and I love that.
Oh, it's beautiful, and of course, like in the antique shop. Something's happening, something falls on a harpoon at the back of the shop, which fires straight through the guy's gut. And you're thinking, oh, Jesus, that's not as gory as you think. And then, of course, the harpoon retracts through his stomach and just rips out his intestines, and the guy falls over.
Pulls them across the room.
Pulls them across the room, and all like this line of taut intestines in the middle of the room. And it's just a brilliant fucking opening, and like everything around that scene is just like absolutely fucking wonderful. And straight away, like when you start a movie like that, you're grinning ear to ear, going, "Yeah, I'm on board for this. I love it."
Oh yeah, like I was like the tone of it was fantastic. Like he takes the thing outside, Adam Driver looks up, because that's the thing is he's obviously seen this fucking monkey kill a ton of people at this point, because he's just like, for fuck's sake, like he's not like full on panic that this dude's guts just got ripped out. He just looks around in the shop and sees, oh, there's a flamethrower, and just goes outside with a flamethrower, and it's him with a big fucking maniacal look on his face trying burning this monkey to melt it. But of course you can't kill it because it's whatever, evil magic. But it's just great to see him and that role. I bet you had an absolute blast doing that.
Oh, absolutely. And you get that kind of freeze frame of him with the flamethrower, trying to kill the monkeys. But anyway, that guy, and I only copped, obviously halfway through the movie, that's their father. That's the pilot. When you realize that's the pilot. So then he disappears, this pilot, and leaving his wife, Lois, to raise their identical twin sons. And this is Hal and Bill. And Hal is the kind of meek, sheepish one, and Bill is the cruel, bullying one who's 3 minutes older twin.
3 minutes older and ate the placenta or something.
He ate most of the placenta, so he's bigger than me. It's like, fucking hell, man. Jesus Christ. So then, the years later, then we discover the monkey, the kids discover the monkey in a weird kind of,
it looks like a hat box.
Yeah. It's
doesn't it? It looked like a hat box.
And it says like life on it. And it's just, very odd. But they find that in their dad's closet, and they wind the key, and they're just like, oh, what's going on, blah blah blah, and nothing happens. And then they go out they're brought out to dinner by their babysitter. This was one of those deaths I was wondering, did I blink, or is this a death, or did this guy just murder her?
Yeah, he decapitated her.
Just like, so they're in this kind of sushi fucking restaurant.
It's teppanyaki, isn't it? They do
teppanyaki, yeah. And he's going with his knives, and the guy's doing that in the restaurant.
And he's flirting with your one and showing off and everything.
But because he doesn't move or whatever, and her head falls off her fucking body. But did something happen to him, or did he just accidentally cut her head off. Is he done for like manslaughter now?
Oh, I assume so. Yeah, they don't show him getting arrested, but
mistake?
He literally chopped her head off. Yeah, and it's great because she turns her head and kind of looks at young Hal sitting beside her, and then her head just fucking slides off, plum falls down. It's fucking hilarious.
It's fucking.
And again, it's a reaction then, of course, of him playing the two kids of young Hal being like, "Oh my god, this is brokenhearted," and Bill like, "Oh, I can't believe she's dead. I was planning on marrying her when I grew up," and all this shit. Just he didn't really care, just thinking about himself the whole time. It's great.
But you can't beat a head sliding off a body.
Oh yeah,
I mean, even throw back to remember the Cube movie, not the game show, the movie The Cube, back in like the 90s, late 90s. Had one of those vents. Like fucking all the different rooms and stuff, and death rooms and stuff, and there was these wires in one of the rooms that somebody stood into, and they just went straight through him, and he just falls into little cubed pieces. And 1990s, the thing cost about fucking $500,000. Amazing fucking practical effects on that one. Throw back to that. But then we get to our funeral scene of the babysitter, which this was in the trailer, and I was wondering what was happening in the scene where we get the priest who's like stoned off his mind. It's like, what? That's where they like tonally, I'm kind of like, I love the way they set up with the initial scene or the opening scene, and they set up the tone. It's kind of quirky, and the characters, everyone's a little bit offbeat and quirky, and I love that. And then it comes to this scene in the funeral, and the priest just starts off with just going, fuck yeah, shit, and just starts to talk.
They don't explain. They don't explain why he's a nutjob, why he's so young, why
18 years of age. It's fucking bizarre, but it's wonderful. Like he's trying to say, life and does this, and when we die, it's a flip of a coin, heads or tails, or in this case, her head. It's a separated issue, all this kind of stuff, and it's just very, very odd, but beautifully odd, and that's the tone I think that they kind of start out of the gate with. That kind of loses its way a little bit and becomes not so much serious, but loses that kind of quirky weirdness in this world at times. But this, and I love it that it's just not explained. It's like, what the fuck is going on with this priest? But it's brilliant. But then we get outside. This is where we get Tatiana talking to her kids outside, sitting on a bench outside the church, and saying, look, and giving this beautiful monologue to her kids. It's like, everyone dies, we all die. Everyone's going to die, some absolutely fucking horribly, or some in their sleep. And, you just never know. Just like, you're going to die. All your friends are going to die. It's just this.
I'm going to die. Yeah,
it's fucking brilliant. It's just, and then she's like, there you go. There's your pep talk for today.
And she's like, let's go dancing.
Go dancing.
And then they're just back in the house, still in the funeral clothes, just fucking dancing around the place. Like it's, she's brilliant.
Tonally on point. You're going, this is fucking brilliant. And like, it started the first 10-15 minutes of this are just absolutely fucking fantastic. But like but Bill is constantly bullying Hal, and that intensifies, prompting Hal to turn the monkey's key again, hoping it will kill Bill because he's just fucking annoyed. But instead something more drastic happens, and Bill walks into the kitchen and sees his mum just standing there cutting an orange or something and just kind of moving a little oddly, and then she turns around and drops dead of an aneurysm. And
she's bleeding out of her ears,
and just like, fucking hell, it's not what actually happens. That's pretty fucking grotesque. But it's overcome with guilt. Hal then attempts to destroy the monkey with a cleaver before him and his brother then, because his mother dead, they have to move to Maine to live with their Aunt Ida and Uncle Chip. These guys are fucking brilliant. I didn't know that this is the director. That is fucking brilliant. As the uncle in his wonderful attire, he sits down. His uncle comes in and sits down, but I think it sits down beside Hal. He's like, brilliant dialogue. He's like, we'll do our best, but we never really wanted kids, just because we weren't ready, and also because we're swingers. Wonderful line. He's just like, look, we'll do our best with you guys, but our best might be pretty fucking bad. It's just like, what a wonderful character. It's just, and I didn't know that the director could fucking act as well. That's really good to know. But again, this scene, you're going, this is just brilliant. This is like some kind of horror comedy mixed with the Coen brothers or something. You're just like, fucking hell, this is absolutely wonderful. What were your thoughts on this guy and the aunt?
No, I loved them.
Brilliant.
I thought they were hilarious. As you said, they picked them up, and you're kind of getting out how these movies, whether it's a comedy, horror, no matter what it is, sometimes the aunt and uncle pick them up, and it turns out they're just horrible people. You know, it's the Rodal kind of style stuff. You know, where you go off to live with his family and they're horrible, and then they go and meet someone, you know, who happens a teacher who turns out is savior or whatever it happens to be, and you're kind of wondering, what is it? Are they going to be perverts, or are they going to treat them like shit? Are they going to Harry Potter them, you know, and lock them under the fucking stairs? Like, what is it going to be? But yeah, they're just these two fucking swingers who are just completely honest about the fact, much like his mother. They're just like, yeah, I'm just going to tell you how life is. Like, I'm just, you know, we're swingers. We don't want kids. You know, if we had the choice, you wouldn't be here. Like, it's just fucking brilliant.
It's great. But so when they head off to Maine with their aunt and uncle, the monkey reappears then in their new home, completely unscathed. Like, I love that. Things you just don't need to know. And what I think I love about the choice in this movie, where they don't bother with any like, oh, it was made in a shop and this with magical dust. You don't need to know. It's just a fucking monkey. Yeah, he chopped it to bits with a cleaver, but now it's back. And how? Doesn't fucking matter. But it reappears at their home and realizing its power now, Bill, despite Hal's protests, tests it. And he said, "Oh, we'll twist it." And this is one of the moments where the editing is so tight in this movie. It's just really, really good choices of editing and keeps the movie zipping along. But when they think like they twist it and say, "Oh, nothing happened, maybe something, whatever," and it just cuts to Chip's photo on the top of a casket in a church at his funeral. We find out that he was camping, and was one of my favorite bits was there was a stampede of 67 wild horses rode over a sleeping bag, and they're saying, "Oh, you ever want to know what that looks like?" And they open the sleeping bag, and it's just a fucking mush of flesh in the back, and it's just fucking brilliant. It's like it's just fucking great. But then the brothers just freaked out by that. Obviously, they said like it can't be destroyed, so they just put it in a fucking box and just fuck it down a nearby well, hoping that it'll remain hidden. And that's when we get the end of our. I know it is a standard 3-act movie, but this is like this. It's almost like the end of our first half.
Yeah.
And then we jump to 25 years later, and Hal is estranged from both his brother and his son Petey, who we've talked about. And this is straight away where it starts kind of slow with this. I just don't get his relationship, because 25 years later, that's a long time for nothing to happen. Since like, what age were they when they were kids? Like 14, 15, 16 or something like that. And 25 years has happened with nothing happening with the monkey. And this guy has had a kid and has decided to only see him once a year because of what? I mean, and I think they knew at this point that if you turn the thing with the monkey, if you turn the key in the back, that's when bad shit happens. So what if you just don't turn the key? I don't know. It didn't... What did you think about the time jump? Was it like you know it's coming anyway from the trailer?
You know it's coming, but again, there's the kind of inconsistency there, which is a little bit off, especially when he's talking later on about his brother saying, "Oh, I haven't spoken to you in like 5 years. You know, I haven't seen you in 10, but I haven't spoken to you like 5 years." Yeah. What the fuck did you speak about 5 years ago? Because apparently he's pissed off at you because he's, you know, you're hiding the guilt of the fact that that young Hal twisted the key, his mother died. You know, Bill twisted the key. And, you know, and things. Bill's work has worked it out that, okay, it wasn't Ma who twisted the key and which was their first idea. Yeah. It wasn't her who twisted the key and killed herself. His idea is that whoever twists it can't die. And so he figures it out. So he already knows, and he can kind of go, okay, was that why they're estranged? Have they not talked about it at all? It's just a little bit thin with regards to explanation, but I agree with you. There's no reason. He just says, you know, in a bit of exposition that he only sees his son once a year for like a week, because he's bad news. He goes, it's not the son's choice, it's my choice. And it's just
because you're like, bad things follow me around, and I'm bad luck. He says at one point, and death follows me around. It's like, but not for the past quarter of a century. It's like most of your adult life. It's just, I think that's just some inconsistencies with the time jump. Is it like 10 years later? Is it 15 years later? It's just a little bit odd. And I think it's in place to introduce the son into the script, I think.
But I did want to ask about that, right? Because we know as it gets towards the end. I mean, look, we're in the spoiler section now, so it's fine. But we find out that with Bill's been twisting the key constantly, and that's why people have been dying. But when we go to meet the estate agent, right, which is him, he has to go and see because his aunt has passed away. And we have to go. So he hasn't got the monkey, but yet when she's talking to her, she mentions that a bunch of people have been dying. He goes, there's 1, 2 happened, this happened to them, this happened. So how did they all start getting killed? If the monkey is in that cab, because we know it's locked inside we know it's in the house somewhere. It's in, isn't it? Until it's only, she opens the cabinet and it shoots her in the face. So we know that, I wonder, is it a case that, you know what it must be? It's like it's a young trasher lad. He took out the yard sale.
It in the yard sale.
And he's been twisting, not realizing what's happening, and that's what it is.
Or I thought that Bill had. So there's a throwaway line that you could miss it if like it's very very throwaway, where he just says when that kid in the yard sale, when he's talking to his family, he says something about like, what are you going to do? Sell that stuff to the recluse across the road or something? Because Bill is living in town and he's the recluse. So I think he sells him. Yeah, the monkey.
But to have to have the thing to happen in the first place, right? For the yard sale to happen, and Ida had to die. Right. Yeah. So someone had to twist the key on the monkey for her to die in the fashion that she died.
Yeah.
Which was insane. Someone else had to twist it. So you can't have the yard sale until she's dead. So if she has the monkey and she didn't twist it because it can't kill the person who twists it, and she lives alone.
Very good point. Yeah.
Who put the key in the monkey and twisted
fucking key
to kill her? Because the reason that because we could think this is the next part. The reason he has to go to see the estate is because the aunt dies, and her death scene, man, is
wonderful.
Brilliant. And it's in the trailer, I suppose. Well, it's in the trailer, isn't it? Like she hears a noise and she's creeping around and she's wondering what the sound is. I think she hears the noise of the monkey playing, isn't it? I think
here's the music.
She's going around. Yeah, and then she goes down. She can kind of smell something in the kitchen, and then she goes down and she sniffs over the cooker, and next thing the fucking thing just blows up. But that effect of her face on fire is fantastic.
It's brilliant, because normally you will see that it's shot from afar, it's shot at an angle where you cannot see people's facial features because they are wearing the fireproof kind of cloth or whatever. But it looks like her head's on fire.
Wonderful effects. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant effects. And then she milling out of the house then with the head on fire, and she runs down her steps, and then she runs straight is the foam, the what you call it, the post box. And she runs.
How sharp is that fucking thing? Mother of God! You just going like, who makes a post box where you could actually turn around, and walk into a spiky point at the back of it? She runs into it and goes straight through her fucking head.
It's absolutely priceless. It's a great death scene, but I wonder who, like, to set things in motion for her to get killed. What set that off? Who turned the thing for the monkey? Because I don't know.
We'll touch on Elijah Wood before we get more into the thing, into the plot, because he is in the movie for one scene, unfortunately, and it's like where Hal learns that his ex-wife and husband, parenting author, what is his name here, Ted Hammerman, plan to adopt Petey Fully. And again, this is a scene where, like, there's so much in this scene, there's so much regarding him, and he's trying to to adopt Hal's son, and it's just this one, and it's a throwaway scene, and they kind of go off on a different tangent, where I think this would have been more interesting to follow a little bit more of this, and Elijah Wood's character, because he is straight out of a fucking Coen Brothers movie. He's just lapping it up. He knows exactly what the scene should be like. Like, he's just taking direction absolutely spot on. He's fucking brilliant in a kind of character I haven't seen him really play before. I love when he plays against type and he plays like, tries to play an asshole or this and that, but he's just playing this obviously successful fucking
who's like
Like,
couldn't be
buffoon.
further up his own arse. Yeah, like he's just like he's like, you can't do guys. He's gonna adopt your son. He's gonna adopt Pete.
Yeah.
He's like, you can't just do it. He goes, of course I can. I'm rich. I've got all these books. I'm worth. But it's like, yeah, but you can't just do it. Like, surely this has to involve me in some way signing this over. And he's like, no, I can do what I want. He's just a complete dickhead. And again, lovely. He's here with this big, huge, fucking oversized jug of water in the spandex and the rest. He's just it's tonally he just nails it. It's such a fun scene, and I would have maybe liked to see a little bit more, maybe even if you want to do some flashbacks of shit that's happened in the last 25 years to explain the distance that he's kept from his son, and maybe show more stuff with Elijah Wood. I mean, you don't have to spend too long. Another 5-10 minutes of flashbacks here and there would have been great.
Because it works in, as we said earlier, in It, because it's the same characters, 20, 30 years later. You pick up the same relationships and stuff. Like 25 years is quite a large gap to not pick up again with the brothers straight away, and to introduce new elements to it and a load of new characters. And then we finally get to the brother kind of later on, and it's just, it just kind of fell a little bit flat for me. But anyway, Bill calls Al or calls Hal and says that, he insists he drive to Ida's house, Settler Estate, and try and locate the monkey. He says it's back, and Hal realize it is. They spend some time in a motel. He goes off with his son on their yearly, weekly trip, spend some time in a motel, and Hal has a dream about his mother and the monkey, and wakes up and just goes outside to get some air. And this is we get another scene from the trailer. Gladly in the trailer, they cut the trailer at a very specific point where it's you see an air conditioning unit starts to get loose and comes down and hits the fucking ground with the water and electrifies the swimming pool. And see, I was actually curious what time of night it is, because this woman comes out of nowhere and just like, I'm just going for a swim, and she's like, did he just wake up? Is it 3 a.m. or something? And she's all in her bikini, just like la la la, and goes for a swim, and she goes to dive in. And in the trailer, he just goes no, and they cut away. And you're just thinking she's going to get electrocuted, but she explodes on impact. Just bang. And her leg just fucking flies towards him. And it's another one of those, like, there's no jump scares in this movie, but that alone is one of those, I laughed my ass off when that happened. It's just like, fucking bring it on. That's better than a jump scare. That's like, I didn't expect that. And it's fucking wonderful. The gore is immense, and
it's like your man. It reminded me of your man exploding in the microwave in Kick-Ass. When he's in the microwave, you're like, what are they going to do? The thing they use for treating the timber. You're like, wonder what's going to happen here. Next thing, boom, he just fucking explodes. Fucking brilliant.
So anyway, then after that, Hal is just going, oh fuck, we need to do something. So they get out of there and they head off to settle Ida's estate, and this is when we get introduced to the crazy estate agent hiring her own fucking crack, like she's flying around the place. And this is again from the trailer, and again they cut a lovely fucking moment in the trailer. They don't even it was like the trailers were red band trailers, so they could curse and show gore, but they chose to cut it some lovely moments, so they allowed us to see some of the fucking ridiculous gore on show here. But yeah, she opens one of the doors under the stairs or something, and gun falls down, and she just gets obliterated to fucking pieces. And it's that practical beauty of practical effects, simple practical effects of like a splatter blood bomb. We just go, okay, ready, 1, 2, 3, and this thing is just gonna fucking coat you in a glorious fucking blood syrup. It's fucking it's great. But this is where my note was like, this is starting to get a little muddled. And this is where, my point here was just like, how did she die? We've kind of tackled that a little bit, but it is slightly jarring, like around this time where you see there's a yard sale and you see this kind of fucking skater boy's most annoying kid I've ever seen in my fucking life with his fringe over his eyes. It's like, fucking, like, and he has some good moments later on, but when he's looking, and he's in it because he's going to find the monkey at some point, but he's in for a scene looking around a yard sale, and then goes back to his family and is trying to set up something where he found the monkey and it reminded him of his dad, and then you're kind of going, is that something the monkey does? Like, that it reminds you of what is the lure of that they're trying to impose there in the story? I didn't really quite get that. Did that make any sense to you? What they were
Yeah, well, I
trying to
mean,
do there with the kid?
I think they're making a connection that like the same thing that happened to their dad happened to his dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So someone else, so the monkey is obviously being used. I don't know, is it specifically in that area or what the crack is, but his dad did the same thing. They're convinced that their dad had just left, went out for a pack of smokes, never came back, like the young lad's dad. But, you know, apparently, or most likely, the same thing happened to him, that the monkey ended up killing him. But again, you know, like you said, the monkey's been locked away. Apparently, they threw it down a well. It had to have appeared, and someone had to twist it for all of this to kick off again. And that would make sense if we just had that scene of someone inside the aunt's house, you know, picking up the thing and then twisting it. But she lives alone, and here's that monkey gun up. So I don't know how it ends up in the yard sale. Maybe I missed it, but someone, for her to die and for it to end up in the yard sale, someone has to twist the knob, and I don't know who.
Yeah, are they implying that the kid found it and twisted it?
Well, no, because when he finds it at the yard sale, it looks like it's the first time he's seeing it, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit weird. It's one of those where they've set the kind of rules in motion where you need to twist this, and the monkey chooses who dies, but you cannot die, and that's a cool thing, but because you can't use it as a weapon or whatever, it decides, it puts things in motion. But then it does beg the whole idea that if you don't twist it, then can it just?
Yeah.
Do you need to twist it? Can it just fucking kill people? I mean, you have to set up more and more narrative scenarios for someone to twist it. Where if, it would have been interesting just to see the kid go, oh, what the fuck is this or whatever, and see his mother fucking sliced to pieces or something. It just felt it was maybe trying to be a little bit kind of like, ooh, what's happening? But it didn't. Not that it didn't make sense. I'm sure in repeat viewing, probably missed something, but it just wasn't. Just didn't quite make sense. This part.
Yeah.
Anyway, but then Bill. Or Hal knows that now Bill is living in town, now possesses the monkey, because apparently he hired that little kid to bring it to him. And Bill, as you were saying before, he's long suspected that Hal was involved in his mother's death because he wanted to kill Bill or something like that.
Yeah, because he's sick of being bullied by him, and he wanted to. Yeah,
he's just like, that must have happened, and that's how he knows. You tried to kill me, but it killed the next person close to me, which is my mother. So he has spent years waiting for its return to get revenge, and he is suitably kooky. He's gone fucking bananas. We get a couple of flashbacks to him just kind of, really realizing, fucking hell, it's my brother has killed my mother, and inadvertently threw this monkey, and just goes fucking bananas. And there's a part earlier on where he refused to get out of his funeral attire and his funeral suit because he just didn't want to get out of it because he was just of the grief for his mother. And so this is a bit where it's like, it's kind of kooky and it's funny, it's a bit silly as well, where he rejigs the suit where he can wear the pants again, but it's kind of like doesn't quite fit him on the top, and it just looks ridiculous.
Yeah, he looks absolutely funny. He's got kind of a mullet going on as well, and it's just in his lair, if you want to call it that, because he's got fucking screens up all over the place, and it's just it's a creepy looking lair. It's cool, and again, despite being 2025, all those TVs are all 90s TVs, or those big tube TVs all up around the place. Like, what? Again, they just shouldn't have given us dates. You shouldn't have told us that was set in the 90s. This is 25 years later. To leave it for us to kind of go, I guess you're just not supposed to know. But to tell us that and then have it all arseways is just a bit weird. But yeah, and again, he's bananas. And he's funny as fuck, but I enjoyed him. I have to say, I was definitely a fan of him in this stuff.
Yeah, like it. This is where you really see the range of like his acting pedigree, where they're like as kids, the characters work well as, there's the two different twins that are kind of bouncing off each other. But here you get his absolute maniacal side, and he pulls it off very, apart from what he's wearing, very believable. But he essentially Bill demands Hal to bring Petey to him so that Petey can turn the key in his place, but Hal refuses. Meanwhile, Ricky attempts to buy the monkey back. This is Ricky, is the fucking emo skateboarder
guy. Yeah,
and he tries to buy the monkey back from Bill, who says, get fucked or whatever. So this little kid decides to dress up in his father's police uniform and kidnaps Hal and Petey. forcing them to, like, they sit outside and he forces the kid to go in and sneak into Bill's house through like a kind of trap door.
Well, it shows, but it doesn't show how dumbass Hal is. Like, because this cop turns up to the door and starts knocking, and he says, "It's the fucking police," and he looks through the peephole, and he can see this dude with a uniform that doesn't fit him. He can't see his eyes. His hair is so long; it's down over here, and the hat doesn't fit him. Like, he looks this. He does look like someone wearing a fake police outfit. He's like, "All right, yeah, I'll be out now in a sec." Yeah, and just totally just takes it on board. Like, it's like, how do you not realize that's the fucking dude?
It's obviously like, a fucking kid who's just like dressed up fucking Halloween or something. But anyway,
yeah, when they go with him, and yeah, the idea is to get what's his face Petey to sneak in because he knows there's a trapdoor around the back,
and he'll fit in.
But kid. Yeah, again, you know, the death scene here. Then
that scene is fucking ridiculous. Like, it's ridiculous. Death scene by B, which is like outside. Hal is looking outside. They're outside in the car, outside the building, looking up, and there's kind of a beehive hanging off a tree, and it just gets heavier and starts to fall down. And the little kid in the back has an actual gun with him, and he's messing with his fucking, you know, trying to be menacing, and the gun accidentally goes off. But you're thinking he's going to blow his head off. The misdirections, just like, oh no, he doesn't. He actually just accidentally shoots out the window, but shoots into the fucking beehive, which obviously pissed off the bees to such an extent that they come out. And this is like, it's fucking grotesque and mad, but it's ridiculous what the bees do. They just come out and they don't just swarm him. They just go into a fucking pincer circle or fucking spear and just go straight through the fucking bullet hole into his fucking mouth. And just like about 1,000 bees. And then they eat him from the inside. And then his face
you his jaw falling off and everything. And it's awesome.
It's fantastic. It's just like, wow, that's a way to go. That's like a fucking Mortal Kombat fatality or something. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, so inside, then, you know, Hal follows his son inside after this fucking crazy shit, where Bill, enraged, attempts to force the monkey to drum without the key. And again, this is a part that didn't quite understand the mechanics behind what they were trying to do. I don't know why he didn't turn the key. Did Petey take the key or something? But he's just like, oh no, I want to get the fucking monkey to beat the drum, and trying to force it to do so. And then the monkey shows some magical force or something, and just fucking kicks him off into the wall. And it's just like, it's kind of, did you understand what was happening there?
No, I
don't know if I blinked or I was looking down.
I wasn't sure.
I don't know why he didn't turn the key.
Well, I was watching it wondering, was he trying to stop it from hitting the drum, or was he trying to force it? Was he trying to force the hand of it down? Or I think he was trying to force it to drum without turning the key. Yeah. And so because of him trying to do that, the monkey loses the rag and starts fucking hammering his drum like a fucking lunatic. And just causes shitloads of deaths. It's like, all right, you could have had the key turn once, we'll kill one person. Because you've been a prick, I'm going to fucking hammer the drum like 1,000,000 times. And next thing, there's carnage outside. There's fucking planes crashing, buildings are fucking exploding, all because it's after just wiping out loads of people. Because you've tried to mess with the natural order, I guess.
Yeah. But then there's like, amid the chaos, and there's a lovely throwback to something somebody, or his kid Petey, said about, we should go skydiving because, you know, they do skydiving around here, and, you know, you can get married while skydiving. You know that's going to come back at some point. So when this carnage is happening outside and the plane crashing, somebody's skydiver falls through the fucking ceiling, and then the bride falls through attached to her fucking parachute, dead and neck broken. It's just like, that's kind of a lot of fun. But amid the chaos, Hal and Bill reconcile over their shared grief for their mother, which I completely kind of missed. I'm not sure how it was resolved so quickly. I had dropped some fucking half a tub of fucking ice cream on my leg. So I looked up and I went, oh, now they've made up. And how did they made up? So they kind of went, no, we both miss her and we both love her.
He's just trying to basically kind of explain to him. He's like, I know you want to blame, so you want to blame me because it's nobody's fault but this thing. You know, you can't know it's this thing is what's doing it. Like it says on the box, it's like life. Bad shit happens. People just die. And he's like, it's nobody's fault. You know, and he doesn't say to him, because they have to reconcile, and now we can go together. You can come with us on our little road trip. And, you know, two uncles and the thing, and we can head off on the road trip. But hang on a second. This guy has been purposely turning this key to kill people. So whether he gets arrested for it or not, you know that he has been killing people left, right, and center. Planes have crashed all around because of him. Don't have him in the car with you.
There's no road trip, man.
Yeah, you don't know if he's going to keep being cool or whether he's gone completely nuts. He's a dude that lives in this room full of TVs on his own. And first of all, you know, for the most part, you don't trust people with mullets. All right, you just don't. It's just
dressed in like kids suits. It just doesn't work. Like
he looks like a psychopath. Don't be inviting him anywhere. But the scene then when they're just, you know, things are happening and they're going to be best mates,
best buds and a happy ending.
And then his death is like one of those. It's a trap. Is a bowling ball rolls down, drops, and then it falls into like a cannon, and then shoots straight at his head
and decapitates him gloriously with a bit of his fucking neck and chest gone as well. You know, for equal measure. Just like bang. And that's just, again, it's one of those, that's fucking great.
And when they show it, though, because obviously like the bowling ball was belonging to his dad and has Lois written on it. We see it earlier on in the movie that the mom they still keep the bowling ball. And young Hal imagines dropping it on Bill's head as a kid because he's so mean to him. But so it actually does happen. You know, his head, because they show it on the wall and the bowling ball is now embedded in the wall and you can see bits of Bill's face, like his ear and stuff stuck to the wall, and you just see Lois and it's dripping in blood, and it's brilliant. Like it's the one death he actually wanted to happen, the way he wanted it to happen actually happens.
And then following that we get Hal and Petey driving through the now devastated town with shit everywhere in the distance. There's, you know, a plane has crashed into fucking trees and houses. There's a tractor on fire. There's a woman from the trailer, one woman running with her fucking pram baby on fire and shit. It's just fucking wonderful. And but then we get one of our final shots, which is actually there's a throwback to a scene earlier on when the police are bringing, I think, the aunt's body. Or not the aunt's body, the estate agent's body out of the house. For some reason, there's all these cheerleaders outside cheering, "Hey, yeah, here comes the body." And it's like, what the fuck is this? And those same cheerleaders then, as Hal and Petey drive off, one of those yellow American
intersection,
at an intersection, one of those yellow American school buses goes by. And it's all the cheerleaders out the window going, "Yeah!" And then a truck from the opposite way just flies past and just wipes past them and decapitates about fucking 15 of them. It's just
blood all over the side of the bus.
Yeah,
it's
and
brilliant.
It's just as a final scene, it's just wonderful and grotesque.
But it's not quite the final scene, you know, because we get that the pale rider on the horse.
What the fuck was all that about?
Yeah, like it's supposed to represent, because I think somewhere at the start of the movie, I can't remember, but they mentioned there's a line when he's talking about, you know, death and the pale. He's doing the Johnny Cash thing, which is obviously from the Bible, and he's saying, you know, "Behold, a pale horse," and written on him was death. And I can't remember why he's saying that, but he's explaining. I think is when he's explaining to Petey why he's not around. You know what I mean? That death kind of follows him, and. Yeah, this is it. This is the guy walks past, and it's very obviously some sort of supernatural being, because it's not like he's on fire. There's smoke coming off him, but it's this ethereal coming off him. And he's fucking awesome looking on this cool ass horse, and he makes eye contact with Hal, and Hal kind of gives him a little nod like this, and he kind of goes, and then he just carries off, and that's not really explained. Why? You know, I get the monkey's supernatural, but he doesn't actually move. We don't see anything. We just know that for some reason turning the key kills people, but we haven't seen any ghosts or any monsters or anything like that. And then all of a sudden,
it's
the pale horse.
It's a very strange thing to put in.
Yeah, it is.
It makes you like, I know it's just like, oh, you know, people are going to wonder what the hell is that, but also it's just like, what the fuck is that? That doesn't you know, you set it up with the father and son driving off, realizing that, you know, this is our family thing now, we have to look after
the monkey's the monkey in the back of the car, like
the monkey's with us now, we need to protect people from this monkey or whatever, and this is our family fucking lineage, whatever. And then you get the fucking horse thing. It's just like, oh, what the fuck? And you had mentioned to me that there was a post-credit scene, and I tried to hang around for one, but like it wasn't a Marvel movie, and I'm sitting there in the cinema and everyone had left, and people were waiting to clean up all the fucking, especially clean up the ice cream that I'd fucking spilled everywhere. I'm just sitting there going, yeah, this is too awkward. I need to leave. So I didn't see any post-credit scene. I'm imagining that if there was one, it would explain that crazy supernatural force thing a bit more. Well, I don't know.
I didn't watch it either. I read it after the fact that apparently there's a post-credit, but I think it was more setting up his next movie. Okay. Osgood Perkins' next movie. I don't even know if it was if they added credits. Now, someone, I'm hoping people in the comments will first of all pick up on something we missed with regards to who turned the monkey for Ida to die. So if you don't mind, look that up and let us know. And then the other part is what's the end credit sequence, because I don't know what it is.
But that's it. And it's kind of like it's a very enjoyable movie. I think we're on two sides of a coin there. I'm delighted that it wasn't scary. I think you were expecting it to be scary. But yeah, it was very inventive. Death scenes. It's more than just here's the next inventive death scene movie. There's a lot to it. It's a bit misjointed at times, and I think an extra 5-10 minutes would have helped to explain a few things.
I get what you're saying. For me, it kind of was a little bit death scene to death scene. Apart from the really great performances, I don't think it's the story that really tied it together, but it's seeing the uncle, the performance even by Osgood Perkins in his small little role. That's fantastic. Elijah Wood in his small little role, Taddy Maslany, and there's just great little performances that have you kept in. But the plot wise, I wasn't totally engaged on what was going on. What was going on to get me from, as you said, your one exploding in the swimming pool to whatever the next one was. I wasn't totally engaged in that, but but it doesn't matter. It's a lot of fun. The death scenes again are laugh out loud. I know. Even though it's describing them, we're selling them short. We really are. It's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend it. It's great, and you did well taking us through it so succinctly there.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he's a director to watch, because after Long Legs, even though it didn't really jive with the last 15 minutes of that movie, I thought it kind of missed the mark for me. But I loved that he followed up that with a Stephen King adaptation, and it's a full-on horror comedy. That there was a line where he was in, I think his parents, Perkins, he said his parents died of kind of freak kind of accidents and stuff like that. So he knows about the stuff, and he said when he thinks about that stuff and about the craziness of people dying and the fact that everyone's going to die, the only thing that comes to his mind, he said, is to tackle that with a smile. And I read that after seeing the movie, and I was like, oh, okay, that's an interesting way that he straight away read this short story and went, this is a comedy, this is a horror comedy, but, and you're kind of going, someone else would have just taken it as a straight up, another inanimate object fucking kills you, and probably wouldn't have worked as well, maybe. Who knows? But he's very a bold director making bold choices, so yeah, look forward to his next one. And
it's, as I said, it's whatever 3.5, it's done right, where you look at, say, Annabelle is an inanimate object, and the movie, the whole idea is that what the fuck is she causing? But they add in supernatural stuff. They have Annabelle's, head turn, or she appears in different places. That's it done badly, whereas this is it done right. It is. It's a lot of fun. It's not amazing, plot wise, but it is. Yeah. It's a fun one. It'll be one I'm sure a lot of people will enjoy, and again, accessible by a lot, because it's not super scary. It's just, funny, gory kind of stuff. It's campy horror. It's good.
Yeah, good one. Check it out.
So look, that's it for this week. And thanks all for tuning in. As I said, get in touch if you have different views on this movie or want to explain some stuff that we got wrong. We're always happy to listen. Keep on liking, sharing, subscribing, doing all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. And we look forward to talking to you again in the next one. So take it easy.